You're a jewelry designer and in the fashion business. What was that like?
I started my company with my own money, just created all my own resources and learned how to do everything brick by brick. I'm not so worried about what other people think.
Your dad is one of the most powerful people in Hollywood. Like, oh, you had it easy because. Was that ever a part of your trajectory?
He didn't know the first thing about jewelry. He didn't give me one penny. People always have things to say, like you had a cushion or whatever it is.
Were you born with these skills? How do you think you sort of developed this resiliency?
My parents got divorced when I was like 7.5, and I automatically felt like I had to be a caretaker and make sure everyone was okay and good and like a people pleaser. I really like to be flexible. I really like to find a solution in life with people. If certain things don't work for me, I'm more than happy to be like, it just doesn't work.
Jen, hi!
Hi, Trace.
It's been so long since we've seen each other. Now we're seeing each other on Zoom.
I know.
I mean,
happy to see
whatever.
you.
It's good to see you too. I'm so happy for you and everything that is in your life right now.
Thank you so much. That's so sweet. I know.
You deserve
Good
you
life.
deserve it.
Good life.
And also thank you for making your second appearance on the old High Vibe Live, which is now Style Your Vibe. And when I taped you before, that was in the day you had to screen record, and whatever. Yours didn't come through, and I was really bummed. So I'm happy to have you here today.
We're back and we're recording.
We're back and we're recording, and it's been years, but you're still the same. I can tell. So Jen, the reason why I wanted to have you on Style Your Vibe is not unlike the reason that I wanted to have you on High Vibe Live. You're still one of the most, I only have people on in our industry who I know are, high vibe. It doesn't mean you have to be bouncing off the walls like me, or effervescently smiley and optimistic like you, but just a combination of positive, grounded, soulful, optimistic, but there's something about you that you are very happy. You're extremely positive. And, in our business, it's not easy. It's extremely competitive. It's very hard to get in and stay in. And we all have our things going on in our lives. So let's start off by what do you think makes you high vibe?
Oh God. I'm like, am I high vibe?
Because it doesn't mean, the thing is that especially right now or in the universe or whatever, when times are tough. I mean, the first time we did this conversation was in the pandemic, and
Yeah.
life was tough, but life's tough. So it doesn't mean we all have to be happy all the time either. I think being high vibe could just mean you're grounded, you're very solid. There's something within you, and I think you're super real.
Thank you.
Which a lot of people aren't. You're never fronting as far as I know. And who knows, maybe you're not bouncing off the walls today. Of course, when we're having lunch, farm shop, stuff is more fun. But so those kind of characteristics, maybe it's less the bouncing off the walls and but I would say you're a high vibration. It's
I try and
it's
be.
a mindset, really.
I think that I always have the attitude that it's much easier to be in a good mood than a bad mood. It's much easier to put a smile on your face than walk around angry or pissed off. And I try and get through those listen, we all have bad moments all the time. I mean, we're not like robots, but I know when I don't feel good. I know when I feel down. I know when I feel like a depressed moment, or I'm angry at somebody, or I'm frustrated. It pretty much ruins my day.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't thrive in chaos. I don't thrive in negative feelings. And I know some people that do. I really do. I know some people that thrive in that moment and they don't recognize it.
Mm-mm.
But they thrive being mad at somebody. They thrive
Mhm.
being frustrated. They thrive at things not working and people wronging them, and I just can't live in that space. I
Mhm.
really cannot live in that space.
Mhm.
So, I do try and have a high vibe, or I do try and have, like, a positive attitude, or look for the silver lining, or look at the pluses, or all those things.
'Cause you're right, a lot of people are swimming in their minds, we can all have, like, active minds, and there are people who, like, want to go. I don't say they want to, but they're more drawn towards, like, yeah, negativity, rumination, blaming other people, being a victim. Like, that's a mentality, like, the same thing can happen to you as them or me and them, and instead of being like, "I'm a victim," it's like, "What could I do differently in that situation, or how did I participate?" But you particularly, like, one of the key things you're talking about is kind of a mindfulness of knowing, A, that you're in, like, a shitty mood or a bad mood, and then B, changing that. Like, those are 2 really, really, really hard things to do for a lot of people. A, notice, and B, if they do notice, like, how do they switch it around? What's your process on that? Do you think about it, or what? How does that go for you?
I think that for me, I really express myself to, like, I have a close group of people in my life that I really trust, and I'm really honest, because
Um,
when I feel down, or I feel shitty or frustrated or angry, like, I'm really good at constructive criticism.
mhm.
So, if I'm doing something wrong that I'm not recognizing, I want somebody to tell me. So I
Mm,
have a trusted group of people around me that I express a lot of things to,
mhm,
and I'm really brutally honest.
mhm,
So, and they're brutally honest, so
mhm,
they'll be the first ones to be like, "Well, you could maybe do XYZ," or "You're right, I don't know what to tell you, like, that's shitty," or
mhm,
"What if you blah, blah, blah," or
mhm,
"Hey, this you should look at this." Like,
mhm,
I think that it's really important to be able to express yourself, to be really honest about it, and
mhm,
to also let shit go.
mm.
I don't remember anything. Like, I don't mean that in, like, a bad way, like,
No, God,
I remember
I know
on
exactly what you mean.
like,
That's
I don't remember 98% of the favors I've done for people, and I feel like I do a favor for somebody every day.
Mhm,
And people come up to me all the time, "Oh my god, remember when you did da 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 da? Oh my god, I'm still at that job. Oh my god, remember?" I'm like, "I don't remember." I don't keep score.
mm,
And I think that's something that has really helped me in my life.
mhm,
I remember when people do great things for me,
mhm,
or help me,
mhm,
but, like, if people, like, sort of annoyed me or wronged me or whatever, like,
mhm. Mm.
I forget.
Like,
Unless it's something really serious,
yeah,
obvious,
but
but
that's it.
little annoying things, like, I just, like, I don't wanna hang on to it. I don't
Mhm,
have the mental capacity
uh-huh,
in my day to be like, "That person." No,
uh-huh.
I do remember things, don't get me wrong. If
Yeah,
you really
yeah.
hurt my feelings, or really did something, or if you did something to someone I love, I won't forget it.
Me too.
I
I'm
won't
the same
forget it.
way.
But, like,
Yeah.
I just don't wanna hang on to it. I just don't, and I don't, and if I did something great for you, I'm so happy I did it, but you don't owe me. You know what I mean? I'm not
I
keeping
am wearing
score.
I'm like, I
I
have to
love
show
that,
Jen that I'm still wearing, like,
'cause that
the
makes
stuff
me
she
so
gave me be
happy. But
yeah, but
those are, yes, you're wonderful to me. Those are different. You and I have a friendship. But, like, I'm just saying, like, I'm not keeping score. I don't
mhm,
have, like, a thing of remembering how I did you right and
yeah.
you owe me,
Mhm,
or blah,
mhm,
blah, blah, because, like,
mhm, mm.
I'm too tired.
So here's another. And part of what I do on this show is, like, I will definitely, like, stop and, like, re-go over something, because I think that the people that I know and the mindsets they have, and maybe the practices they do or whatever, I already kinda know that they're there, and I'm not saying you're surprising me, but when I see something and because a lot of, the people I interview, it's not like they're walking around going, "I'm a," a mindset guru. I'm a happiness person, but when I do hear something, I am gonna you know, go back over it. You said something that you don't keep score, meaning you don't keep track of like the favors and stuff, but it also seems like you don't hold on. You said you don't hold on to the bad things, like if someone, wronged you or whatever, unless it's really big or one of your friends. A lot of people get stuck in I'm angry, and, you know, holding against other people, and you and I share that mindset that, like, it's heavier on the person carrying it around. It's, like, gonna do you more harm than it is to the other person that you're being, having this anger against. So how do you naturally let that go? 'Cause I again, I think a lot of people and it's just habitual brain, it doesn't mean they're bad or wrong. This is like habituating brain stuff, and how do we train ourselves if we have that natural proclivity, which a lot of people do. Anger, resentment, whatever. Maybe it's not like, they're really carrying it around, um all day, but there's like a silent little vest they have on all day. How do you? Because obviously something happens and then you're like, "I just let it go." Like, that is super,
I
mindful. How
often think,
do
is it that bad?
Mhm,
Is it that big of a deal?
mhm,
Does it really matter?
mhm,
If the answer is yes, 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 work
mhm,
with it. You know what
mhm,
I mean? Then
mhm,
maybe it needs to be something that needs to be dealt with.
mhm,
And
mhm,
you might need to go talk to that person or sit down with that person or have a conversation with that person or express yourself or write them a letter. I don't know what it
mhm,
is.
mhm, mhm,
Or is it something that you're like, "Oh, good, that person's just not for me."
mhm,
Like, I also do that.
mhm,
That's all good. I don't need them in my
mhm,
life.
mhm,
No big
mhm,
deal. I don't
mhm.
wanna think about them ever in my space, but, like, I just don't let's help it.
You just kinda keep your energy and your spirit clear by not holding on to
I mean,
stuff.
I do my best, I'm not perfect. There are definitely certain things where I'm like, "Oh, hell no," but, like,
Yeah.
nothing that I can think about in my life today
Mhm.
that annoys me or that
Mhm.
I'm mad at somebody
Mhm.
or that's holding me like that I'm
Mhm.
feeling frustrated.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's like I can't I can't give Ruby and Otis, my 2 teenagers, clean, like, good advice on all the shit they go through in their life
Mhm.
with me being the opposite,
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
teenagers go through all the natural stuff that
Yeah.
they go through in life, you know
Mhm.
what I mean? You
Mhm.
fight, you love each other, you hate each other, you get
Mhm.
back together, you this,
Mhm.
you that, you're never talking again, the next day you're crying in each other's arms, you're in the world, you know what I mean? That's how it should be, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? But it's like, could you imagine being a mom and saying to your kids, like, "Be mad and stay mad."
But people
Remember
do.
yeah, remember
Yeah,
what
you
you
better
gave
give
her.
that back to Johnny because
Yeah,
da da da. A lot of parents do that, and then it goes on, and the patterns go
great.
on
There you go. You're
with
setting
this
your
kind
kid
of
up for
behavior.
failure.
So, do you ever get, like, naturally down? Like, is there ever like,
Of
I'm
course.
just in a bad, meh," or like I definitely can
Yes.
get, like, a little bit I wouldn't say like a victim mentality, but like, "Man, meh," and I'll see myself in it, and I'm so like, practice Tracy, meditate, do this or that or whatever. If I'm, like, in a down mood, I'll be like, "Oh, it's Mercury retrograde." But, like, do you ever, like, get down and have a hard time, like, pulling yourself up? Doesn't sound like you do, but I'm just
No,
curious.
well, first of all, we all get down. Like, if
Mhm,
anyone is like, "I'm never down," like, give me, whatever they're taking. Like, I don't know, but yeah, we're all human. Like, you
mhm,
you get down, you have moments. Pulling yourself out, like I said, I mean, not to be a broken record, but, like, for me, it's expressing to somebody in my world that I love and trust,
mhm.
I'm just having a hard time.
Okay, alright,
I
so
try
right.
and I really try and, like, take it out of me.
Mhm,
Just try and put it somewhere else, not
mhm,
onto somebody, but
mhm,
just the more I keep things in my body or
mhm,
my brain or
Mm,
my heart or, like, when it is sadness, like, when I've been sad before in my life, like, it becomes physical for me.
mhm. Tell
I
me.
feel it, like, my
Mhm,
stomach hurts, or I
mhm,
can't eat, or my heart's racing, or I'm, like, loo could be at lunch with you and, like, barely paying attention, like, it takes
mhm,
over for me.
mhm.
So, I really try and recognize it as quickly as possible. I'm also somebody who used to suffer from panic attacks
Oh my god.
a long period of time, like, a few years in my life, and this is right before I had Ruby, so, like, 19 years ago, and it was debilitating.
Oh.
So, I realized, like, when I became a mom, like, okay, I wish I had known the power of my mind prior to being a mom, because we all have the power, whether you're a mom or not, it doesn't matter. But our minds are powerful things. And I had to get out of that because they were so debilitating.
Mhm.
Once I had Ruby, like, I couldn't be
Wow.
in that space anymore. And I wish I had known that I was capable of that prior to her.
Wow.
When you have a panic attack, you feel like your world is imploding.
Yeah, I mean, describe how that feels for people who have
You
never
feel like
had
you're
one.
having a heart attack. I mean,
Yeah,
I can't I it
there's
truly feels like you're dying.
yeah,
You
and the
can't catch
world's
your
closing
breath.
in, like, it's just like yeah, I've had 'em t I've had one, you know, it's just like, you feel like you're having, like, a nervous breakdown, like, I
Yeah,
guess.
but it's to me, it's more than I feel like I'm having a nervous breakdown. To me, it was literally take me to the hospital, I think I'm about to die.
Yeah.
And I couldn't breathe, and my heart and my body was just would just be, like, slowly shutting down.
Mhm, mhm,
And I was just sort of blacking out. I couldn't
mhm,
nothing. And I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know
mhm,
why they were happening. It wasn't like,
mhm,
the guy in the red sweater. You know what
mhm.
It was like I didn't know what was triggering it.
Okay, so that was happening, you said it was, like, 5 years or so, like, how many years before you had Ruby that you were going through
I
this?
would say it was like 3 years of panic attacks.
So, like, did you go well, I'm curious as to how you snapped out of it. I feel like I can understand why when you're a parent, like, how that automatically snaps you out of it because you actually don't have the brain space to think as much about yourself or ruminate. There's, like,
I
too much
I
to do.
I
But
snapped out of it while I was pregnant, but I realized it was more about expressing myself.
mm,
The when I go through phases of my life or I'm
mhm,
in spaces of my life
mhm,
and I'm not expressing how I'm feeling,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
Whether that's in a relationship
mhm,
or your significant other, a
mhm,
friendship,
mhm,
at work,
mhm,
like, whatever that may be, your sadness, whatever those things are for you or
mhm,
people that you
mhm.
the stories we tell ourselves, whatever those stories.
Stories we tell
Yeah,
ourselves.
the narrative. We go in a loop in our head,
Mhm.
and there's nowhere for it to go.
Mm-mm, mm-mm,
So, at the least, you need to write it out. At the
mhm,
least, you need to get it on paper. I have
mhm,
an amazing therapist, and he calls it a Pew 12, Dr. Habib Sadeghi, and he says, for 12 minutes a day, he's like, put on a timer, but 12 concentrated minutes. Go and write. And it doesn't have to be legible. You don't have to understand it. It doesn't have to be complete sentences. It can be one words. It can be complete sentence. It could be whatever you're trying to express. It could be your happiness. It could be your sadness. It could be your anger. It could be your depression. It could be about your husband. It could be about your work, your best friend. It doesn't matter. You take it, you write it, you get it out, you express it, and then you burn it,
wow.
and it's gone, or flush it down the toilet, just get rid of it. And there's something about just, like,
Oh, wow.
if you don't have the ability or the person that you trust
Mhm,
in that moment, right? If you don't
mhm,
have the best friend or your family member or your significant other, if you don't have that person that you really wanna go, like, "I gotta get raw and I gotta get honest," write it out. Just spew it out.
wow.
like you said, the narrative, what we do to our own brains is so messed up. I
Yeah.
I could create a story in my head right now that could spiral me for the next God knows how long.
Same.
And
Same.
also, like, I'm not gonna lie, like, really hard with social media. I know that's like
Mm.
wah wah, social media is also amazing.
It's not wall, and I'll tell you from coming from someone like you, and this is another reason I'm doing this show, is because I'm interviewing people that look like they have it all from the outside. You know what I mean? It's not just celebrities or whatever. It's like anyone in the fashion industry. Everyone wants to fucking be a jewelry designer or a stylist or whatever. It's like, so I didn't mean to interrupt, but it's like, yeah, even people like you who seem like they have it all are bothered by social media. And you know what? It's a proven drug. It's a proven sorry, what addiction. And so it's easier for people who maybe not used to ruminate. Oh boy, they're fucking ruminating now. Or like look at the teens or whatever. People who didn't have to think about anything but like riding their fucking bike down the street to like go to 7-Eleven and get a fucking, a slushy. Or
I
it's like,
never thought about, I mean, high school, college, like, I woke up in the morning, I brushed my teeth, I maybe looked in the mirror while I was brushing my teeth, I put my outfit on, looked at myself one time in the day, thought
mhm.
by the way, I always looked ridiculous, I'm
Oh,
sure,
I bet you didn't.
and always thought, "Okay, great, here I go," and never thought one more time during the day,
Mhm,
"Oh my god, how do I look? Oh my god, let me
mhm,
take a selfie and make sure." It was like, you didn't think about it. You didn't think about your
mhm,
outfit, you didn't
mm-mm,
think about your makeup, you didn't think about, I didn't even own makeup in high school.
mhm. Oh my
Like,
god,
just
you're
didn't
so
own it.
lucky. Yeah.
But it was like, it didn't exist for us. So,
Mhm,
now you look at everybody, you look at what they're doing, you look at their jobs, their life, their
mhm,
relationship, their kids,
mhm, mhm,
all of it, and you're like,
mhm,
"Oh, it's like there to show you you're a mess."
mhm,
Like,
mhm, mhm,
don't I
totally.
like, is your house perfectly non-toxic? Are your kids dressed really perfect every single day? Are you doing their hair every single morning? What kind of breakfast are you cooking? What are you wearing? What is your job? How many followers do you have? Like, how successful is your business? What plane are you da 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 da, like, all
Oh,
these
100 when it gets to a certain level. What do the windows in your plane look like? Oh, that's a da da da, and I'm in a G this, and I'm in a
crazy.
we know it, honey.
What
And it always
vacation are you on? Like,
it
all of
gets
it.
yep.
It's just so much, and it's
Mhm.
just like, we all need to take a deep breath sometimes, all of us, and just be like, "I'm happy," or
Yeah.
"I'm figuring my stuff out," or "I'm working on me,"
Mhm.
and I always say, like, there was some study done that I read a million years ago, so don't ask me to quote where, how, whatever, but they were saying, like, "You think people are thinking about you and
Mm.
talking about you,
Yes.
but really somebody's talking about you or thinking about you for about 7 seconds,
Mm,
and then they're
mhm,
back to themselves.
mhm,
They're back to thinking about themselves, their life, their
mhm,
issues,
mhm.
whatever it may be."
I mean, I think, like, our dinosaur brains are programmed, like, to look at fear and be in fight or flight and things like that, but they're not meant for, like, looking in the mirror at ourselves. Like, it's really interesting, like, if you looked in the I mean, there were no mirrors back in the caveman days, but, like, bad things would happen to you if you were too self-conscious and not looking around, so it's still the same. Our brains are, like, wired to, like, help other people, be a part of the group, um, be involved, be empathetic in help and things like that. So I think when we go like against our brain, and there's another study that was something about like how toxic it is actually to like look in a mirror more than once a day or something. So again, I mean, do you think your skills have had to sharpen? Um, I mean, it sounds like you went to a therapist to like help you, but do you think you've had to even sharpen your own skills as social media has become so prolific?
Every day.
Mhm.
I mean, you
Mhm.
could spiral on something every single day if you let yourself. My daughter called me at 3:30 this morning. I have a new thing. So I was always nervous to turn my phone off at night in case, my daughter's in
Yeah.
college. So like I was like, what if she needs me?
Yeah.
So I did a thing. Somebody figured it out on my phone because I'm like really technologically challenged, but where my phone o if my phone is off, the
Mhm.
only 2 phone numbers that ring through are Ruby and Otis, my kids. So,
Mhm.
like, I can sleep like a baby now. I'm
Yeah.
not worried. If they need me, they know, call.
Yeah.
So, my phone rings at 3:30 this morning with one of the kids rings. Otis is in the other room in my house, so I'm like, "Oh, it's not
Yeah.
Otis." I
Yeah.
doubt it was Otis.
Mhm.
Could have been,
Mhm.
but instinctually, it's Ruby. I picked up. I'm like, "What's wrong?" She's like, "Mommy, mommy, I have food poisoning
Oh.
in a dorm,
Yeah. Of course.
communal bathrooms." Do you
Yeah.
know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah. Of
She's
course. Is she
throwing
a
up.
freshman? Well, even
Yeah,
if she's a sophomore, it's like they're always calling,
she
Yeah.
feels terrible. She's throwing
Yeah.
up. She's shaking. She's ever had food poisoning before. Whatever it was, we worked it out,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Then I'm awake. What do I do? The worst possible thing you can do.
Go on
I
Instagram.
look at my phone and I am now in a black Instagram hole. Like, I am
Totally.
deep on a people's cousins, mothers, friends that I don't even know where I don't know how I got there.
Totally. Totally. And you look up and it's an hour later and you're like, "Fuck."
Like, what the hell? Like,
Uh-huh.
what the hell?
Mhm.
Now, the flip side is I wasn't just laying there wide awake, worried about my daughter, like, freaking out. I knew she was okay. I
Mhm.
spoke to her,
Yeah.
we made a plan, she's okay. But if I'm just laying there, I'm gonna be so upset.
Mhm.
I'm her
Mhm.
mom, like, I
Mhm.
wanna be there holding her hair.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
But I didn't think about a goddamn thing. I got
Mhm.
on Instagram and she was texting me, so I'd go to her text, she's
Mhm.
all good, go back to Instagram, and I'm just like, so I've been up since 3:30 in the morning,
Shit. Sorry.
basically on Instagram.
Yeah. So how do you do it? Because, people have a really hard time. I mean, everyone, it's so fun. And this is why I think it's so great to like everyone, tell their stories. It doesn't matter who you are. And I always tell people too, since I have a lot of and same with you, you have a lot of visibility with people who seem to have it all on every single level. And no matter how level it is in the planes and the da, da, we still get into it, compare and despair. You know what I mean? So, and I think it's, people have to, I've heard of people deleting the app from their phone. I can't do that. I've thought about like, I should get another phone and like put that one away. So, how did you stop yourself? Or, yeah, you're like, oh, I have a call with Tracy, so I need to get on. I think you're very resilient, but it still makes everyone feel like shit. Compare and despair. I mean, comparison is the thief of joy. Do you know what I mean? And you're like the most joyful person. So, yeah, like how do you stop yourself?
Comparison is the thief of, yeah, it is. I mean, how do I also downloaded, um, 2 meditation apps on my phone, the Calm app and Insight Timer.
I've never tried Insight Timer and never go on Calm anymore. I don't know why.
Calm is great,
Uh-huh.
and I really try and, let me also preface, meditation gives me anxiety. I
A
like
lot of
yoga gives me anxiety, meditation, like, I'm like, "Put me in a Tracy Anderson class." Like, I want loud music, I wanna be jumping around, I
yeah,
need to get my energy out. You put me in a yoga class or something like, I'm like, "Oh my god,
right.
my brain is on fire." Like, I have now considered every possible negative scenario. I'm, like, trying to meditate, I'm just like, "Wait, did I turn that off? Wait, did I call that person back?
Yeah.
Wait, where is that top? I
Yeah.
haven't seen those pair of jeans." Like, my brain is like,
I know someone took it. I know that like I
yeah,
left the dry cleaner. Yeah.
I'm literally making lists in my head.
Mhm.
So, but for some reason, when I should be sleeping,
Mhm.
I realize very clearly that I should be sleeping, and nothing good is gonna happen with me
Yeah.
staying awake.
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm not gonna find anything on Instagram that's not gonna be there
Mhm.
when I wake up if I need
Uh-huh.
it, and
Uh-huh.
so I put on a meditation.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes there's really good ones that are, like,
Mhm.
going back to sleep and you have, like, a really calm voice. It's like,
Mhm.
"Hi, I'm Eric, and I'll be with you until you fall asleep," and I'm like,
You're like,
"Thank you,
"Promise?
Eric."
Will you hold my hand?" Like,
Literally,
"Will you
I'm
pet
like,
my head?"
right, I'm like, "Okay, Eric and I are together." You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
My poor fiance, like, sleeping next to me, he's like, "It's me, you, and Eric again?" I'm
Well,
like,
I
"Shh."
know it's kinda hard because, like, even with my husband, I'm like, I know what to do, but sometimes, like, I don't know. Yeah, I'm like, "Do I put on my earbuds?" I mean, that's a whole different story, but I think that that could just be an excuse for me not wanting to do it and me not having the discipline to stop the rumination in my head, because at the end of the day, again, Jen, and I realize our time is short, but, like, the discipline in your mind, and I wanna do a little further deep dive in how you got that way. The discipline is really, has to be sharpened, and I think, again, it's like, look at the thought. Tell the thought, like, do I need you right now? Like, do you really need, like, sleep is more important, and then I'm gonna, have the discipline to, like, put you down, phone, put the thing on and blah, blah. Part of my problem is too, is that, like, in order to, like, put those, meditation apps, like, I actually have to use the phone, like, which is why I want another phone, do you know? But, so, what were you like as a kid? Like, were you born with these skills? Was it your
Oh,
upbringing? How do you think you like sort of developed this resiliency?
no. I think, my parents got divorced when I was, like, 7.5, and I automatically felt like I had to be a caretaker and make sure everyone was okay and good and, like, a people pleaser and
Mm.
all of that, and that was, like, a really big part of my life for a very long time.
Mm. Mhm.
And I'm still a little bit of a people pleaser, but definitely much less.
'Cause, like, people pleasing can also, it's like it's a great trait, but it can also lead to. And believe me, like, I've been in therapy since I was 21, so and I still am, so I'm looking at all it's just like layers that you peel back, but, like, I'm like, "Wow, okay, now how did she get out of that?" Because, like, things that you're describing are, like, very it takes a lot to overcome. So you were, like, a people pleaser, which means that kind of, like, you're not thinking about yourself, you're thinking about other people, and sometimes it's hard to, like, have that inner resolve because you begin to, like, put other people's stuff as more important than yours. So, like, tell me again about, like, so how did you get past that to kinda be in your body, be in yourself, think about yourself? Obviously, you have kids and you care about people in your life, but sometimes people can get really off balance, when that happens. Like I was
I
a
think you
workaholic,
do
like
I
you
think
can be.
you I think I just, like, over time, just really did my best to find a happy medium,
Mhm.
you know? Like, I'm not I'm not a stickler on, like, no means no. Like, here
Mhm.
are my boundaries. Like, this
Mhm.
tonight does not work for me. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Mhm.
I don't I mean, no means no in other contexts,
Uh-huh.
obvious,
Yeah, of
but,
course.
like but in my life of, like I really like to be flexible. I really
Mhm.
like to find a solution in life
Mhm.
with
Mhm.
people.
Mhm.
So, if certain things don't work for me, I'm more than happy to be like, "It just doesn't work," you
Mhm.
know?
Mhm.
Like, "I am
Mhm.
so sorry.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
don't see an alternative." You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
So that's, like, very, yeah, I mean, people with, like, toxic people pleasing usually cannot do those kind of things that you're talking about, like, have those frank, candid conversations, so that's really amazing not everybody has that skill.
Well,
Well,
I mean,
we
I'm
can't.
nice about things. Like,
Well,
I'm
yeah, but just to like, say, "Hey, that's." A lot of people just, like, absorb, 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 absorb instead of like, "Hey, you know what? Actually, that really I didn't like when you did that," or, like, "You were late and, that wasn't cool, and I just wanted to let you know, and I don't like, let" whatever way you do it.
and those are hard things to say to people, but that was sort of going back to the beginning of our conversation that, like, either you gotta let something go,
Yep.
like, you better let it go
Mhm.
unless you're willing to confront it.
Mhm.
Unless you're
Mm.
willing to deal with it. Like,
Okay.
if like you said, like, if there is a friend perpetually late, they're
Mhm.
always late and it pisses you off,
Mhm.
right? But then they
Mhm.
walk in and they're like, "Oh my god, I'm sorry, and this happened and this happened," and and you feel like, "Okay, no problem."
Yeah.
Whatever, I'm just gonna be fine, but it's like makes you so mad.
Yeah.
Either you have to say to that person, "Hey, your tardiness is unfair to me. My time is just as important. And I
Mhm.
love you, and I love being with you, and I love hanging out with you, so I keep showing up, but it's
Mhm.
frustrating.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
I don't wanna stop hanging out with you, but, like, we gotta figure this out because I feel like I'm
Mhm.
always waiting for you, and you always have a
Mhm.
great excuse,
Mhm.
but now I'm irritated,
Mhm. Mhm.
and
True.
let the person talk to you about it.
Yep.
But if you're not willing to say it to that person,
Mhm.
then shut up. You got no
Yeah.
right to be annoyed.
Right, you have no right to, like, be the victim in that, "Da, da, da, and I made this thing and da, da," or feel bad, like, "I know they wanna go to lunch with me," and da, da. I mean, again, it's like the stories that people tell themselves. I have a friend who's chronically late, and she's also chronically, like, trying to be there for everybody, you know what I mean? I'm like, "You gotta set the boundaries with people who are, like, sapping our energies," and boy, is it hard. I mean, I'm about to, like, say to her, the thing about being late, and it's tough because you don't wanna upset that person or whatever, but you have to be willing to, like, stand up for yourself and make yourself more important, and those are the
You can start with that friend and basically be like, "Okay, I know you said we're meeting at noon. What time really?"
yeah,
Give them some food for thought.
mhm. Oh, I love that.
Like,
Yeah,
you can start there. You don't have to
yeah.
go in on, "Your tardiness is pissing me off." You can start with, like, a gentle, I don't wanna say that that's, like, manipulation, but it's
No,
like a
it's just
gentle,
a
like,
gentle way to,
"Hey."
like, because a lot of people who have those issues, like, believe it or not, lateness is kind of, that's also like a defense mechanism. It's really interesting. People, it's something deep down inside where you like trying to set like a bench. I mean, I don't know. Not everyone needs to be psychoanalyzed, but a lot of people who are chronically late, like maybe they're bummed or whatever. But I think it's like, standing up for yourself in those ways also helps reinforce, like, tell your brain, I am important. I do matter. What I think matters, who I am matters. And that's just like our brains are like Google searches. So people don't realize when you do stuff like that and kind of advocate for yourself, it actually is better for your development and your mindset.
I agree, but also, like, decide if it's that big of a deal and if you can let it go,
Yes. Totally.
you know?
Um, Jen, wow, I mean, it's getting close, and I obviously we're talking under the auspices of that you're a jewelry designer and in the fashion business, and that's been really hard. Um, I kind of wanted to go back into like how you got started. But more within the details of if that was difficult for you, how it was. I think most people getting into our business, it's very, very hard. It's extremely challenging. It's very competitive. And these are all like just examples of like life stuff that could happen. You know what I mean? You're trying to like date and there's a million beautiful girls that, you live in New York City, whatever. Your dad is like, and especially at that time, like one of the most powerful people in Hollywood. Like, was that hard for you? Because you were doing really cute things. And do people, here in New York, it's like, and I guess there in LA too, it's like there's a million like sons and daughters of people. And I think that it's harder for them to sort of break out because people will kind of like judge them or whatever. Like, oh, you had it easy because. Was that ever a part of your trajectory or anything? Because it doesn't,
Listen, my dad worked in the movie industry. He worked in
so
Hollywood.
no one really knew.
I didn't
Yeah.
Couldn't help me. He didn't know the first thing about jewelry or Barneys or manufacturing or any of it, and he didn't give me one penny.
Yeah.
So, he really I mean, he's great at advice, he's great at business, he was great at all those things and guiding me, but, like, he would have loved for me to become an agent or get into the movie industry because then he really could have helped me, but,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's
uh
interesting.
and I think that, yeah, I mean, people always have things to say about
Uh-huh.
your life or, that, like, you had a cushion or
Uh-huh.
whatever it is, like, I'm not so worried about what other
Yeah.
people think, like, I worked my ass off,
Mhm.
and I started my company with my own money and just created all my own resources and learned how to do everything brick by brick
Wow.
myself.
Well, tell
So
me more about that. I think I realize, like, also it might like, a lot of times I think about Lachlan Bailey, who I kind of wanna interview. He's, like, the son of David Bailey, one of the most famous fashion photographers ever. So iconic, blow up and everything, and I'm, like, looking at Lachlan, and he's super successful, and, like, I sometimes wanna say to him and, people will say, like, "Oh, well, David Bailey was his father, so da da da." It's like, but he's so amazing, so I guess that's not the same really in your
with
situation
with
because
him
he's a photographer and now the kid's a photographer, you know?
Well, with him or with anyone, like, any kid of or anyone who's brought up in a certain way or whatever it is, like, sure, maybe your parents' relationships can, like, get you in the door, but, like, if you're not a hard worker or you're not talented or you're not
Right,
creative or whatever, like,
right,
you don't stand a chance. You know
right.
how many kids I know I'm born and raised in LA.
Mhm.
There are so everywhere you look.
Yeah.
One family's more famous, one family's richer, one family has more connections. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
Though there are plenty of kids who ended up doing close to nothing with their lives.
Totally.
And
There's
whatever.
so many examples of that because it's the person themselves. It's like you can only get so far. I see a ton of it here too. You know, I mean, I think LA has like way more. A lot of people from the East Coast don't realize how way more deep it goes in LA because you know for so many reasons. But so tell me more about like how you got started in and like bootstrapping it and stuff because I don't think people like maybe know that. They might think you know well, I mean, I'd love to hear the Jen Aniston story, but I think that people a lot of times and with people I interview, people think their lives started at that moment. My business started when blah blah and everything was polka dots and moonbeams. It's like, what was it like before that? Like I knew I met you really early on. I could tell you were a fucking hard worker. You had your shit together. You're extremely responsible. You're super down to earth. You have all that it takes. You know, what was that like? And how did you what were some of the ups and downs that happened before the big moment?
You know what? When I started my business, nobody was quote unquote investing in businesses. There
Mhm.
wasn't you didn't like you didn't have a
Yep.
creative concept behind the business. It
Yep.
wasn't what is it going to look like? Who's your customer? Who are
Right.
we speaking to? Like it was like you have an idea, go make your idea, and
Uh-huh.
hopefully people will like it and buy it. Good
Uh-huh.
luck.
Uh-huh.
Like, that was it.
Uh-huh.
So, I saved a very little bit of money. I taught myself how to make jewelry, and I
Like in a class?
went down first I went to classes to learn how to make it. I realized I was never gonna be talented at making it myself. I then went to people and just went downtown, went to Beverly Hills, went to Culver City. If it said jeweler on the wall, I went in, I
Mm.
had an idea for a leaf, and half the people were like, sorry, not gonna make it." And then other people were like, "Okay, we'll make it. We'll make you a mold." I'm like, "What the
Mhm.
hell's a mold?"
Mhm.
I didn't know anything.
Well,
I
no
taught
one was also really doing like that kind of stuff at that time. It wasn't like, I don't know, leaps and I don't know.
no,
Anyways, I
I
mean,
mean, I
yeah.
just had an idea. So one person charged me X amount for it. One person charged me this much. And I was sort of like doing the math, trying to figure out. I had a very little bit of money set aside. I figured, okay, if it works, amazing. If not, like, I guess what better to blow like a little bit of money on than a dream.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I had a very clear vision that I wanted to be in Barneys.
Mhm.
I had no clue how I was going to get into Barneys. I didn't
Wow.
know anyone at Barneys. I didn't know.
And
I
that's
know.
like a West Coast thing for sure because a lot of, you know, that was a total I mean, well, Barney's, did they have their store on Broadway? But the hub was in New York. Yeah.
Yes, but
So you're
like
sitting out there. Yeah, yeah. Tell me.
I was working for Ralph Lauren at the time.
I
Do
read that. I was like, "Oh my god, she worked for Ralph Lauren?" Like in LA?
Yeah, I was doing what their West Coast fashion PR.
Oh my god, stop it.
So the costume designers from the breakup came in for Jen Aniston
Oh,
for the breakup to
okay.
get her clothes.
Mhm.
I had a few pieces of jewelry with me that I had
Mhm.
just finally gotten.
Oh my god.
I showed it to them, not for Jen.
Yeah.
I showed it to them for their opinion, just to
Mm.
see what they thought.
They're in the industry, they see a lot, blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah.
I
Oh,
was
okay, yeah,
curious. They
yeah,
were like, "Oh, we'll show it to Jen for this show." I was like, "Oh, no, 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 like, it's not ready." And they're like, "Well, she picks her own stuff anyway, don't worry."
yeah.
It was gone for, like, 3 weeks. I thought they threw the shit in the trash. I was like, "Okay, great. You know what? I never wanna hear about it again." I'm like, "They hated it. I'm done. I'm so nervous." No. Like, I don't even know. They called me 3 weeks later, "We need 3 of each." I was like, "I need them back. Those are, like, the only pieces I have." They were kinda like, "What kind of amateur are we dealing with?" They were like and I wasn't close to Jen at the time, so, like, I couldn't, like, text her or call her, like, she
Yeah.
just did. She didn't know me.
Did you know her? Like, had you seen each other around or met? So you weren't friends that were like,
We
you
had, like,
see.
a few mutual
Yeah.
people here and there, but, like,
Okay.
we were not good friends at all
Mhm.
yet.
Mhm.
They sent the jewelry, I got it made. I think I charged them, like, below cost
Mhm.
because I was, like, so nervous, like, I didn't know what I was doing.
Of
I
course.
wrote out the invoice, I FedExed it, I did everything. At the same time, I made myself one other set of the pieces, and I started to ask now, I didn't know if she was gonna wear it, you
Yeah,
know,
of course
you have
not.
to
Oh my
understand
god.
at the time.
Well, you
You had
probably know
to
how yeah,
you
there's
just
a
waited for
thousand
me.
trays of shit. Yeah. Anyways, you're not sitting there in the 3 weeks going, "Oh, this is my only thing going on, like, I better wait," is what you're
Like,
saying.
I had a job, I was working for Ralph Lauren.
Yeah.
So,
Oh my god.
I asked everyone and their mother, "Do you know anyone who works at Barneys?" Literally,
Mm.
one person said to me, "I do have a friend, she's actually coming out from New York. Let me see if she has time to meet with you." It was Julie Gilhart.
Ah, Julie.
But at the time, there was no LinkedIn. I didn't know who Julie Gilhart was. You know, I was like a girl living in LA. Like, I had no clue that she was, like, the guru of Barneys.
Yeah, you probably thought, "Oh, Julie is like his little, like, assistant, like, gonna take some Polaroids and, like, show them to
No clue.
somebody." Yeah.
No clue.
Oh my
Met
god.
with her at
You're the
Barneys in
best.
LA. I put all my jewelry in Ziploc bags.
I love
She
you.
looked at it. A few weeks la like, she actually called me that night. She wanted a gift for Albert Elbaz, the
Oh! Yeah, uh-huh,
Long Blonde
exactly.
designer.
Mhm, mhm.
She wanted the wishbone. I
Oh,
brought it to the Sunset Tower for her, and I handed her an invoice. I didn't know what I was doing, but I can't just, like, give away jewelry. Here's the invoice. She's
oh
like,
my god.
"Okay."
Yeah.
Now, like, you might give the person at
Well,
Barneys
Albarabot, I mean, of
you
course,
might give
yes.
them a piece of jewelry and say, "Oh, this is like a PR
Yeah, but you didn't
expense."
none of
No,
that
I
was
did
really
not know what I was doing.
and none of that was really going on at that time. That was before influencers, I think. Way
No
before.
such thing.
Yeah. And
I
certainly
gave
fashion be anyways, yeah, go ahead.
influencer wasn't a word.
No. And certainly, like, designers were not influencers back then either. No one
No.
knew who Albert about, El Albert
Girl
oh,
boss.
I just call him Albert,
Okay.
was, anyways,
No,
so
we were just anyway, a few weeks later, Barney's was like, "We like your jewelry. We wanna do a small buy." I was like, "Oh my god." I went into Barney's all simultaneously. My jewelry goes into Barney's. Jennifer Aniston comes out in the breakup. The jewelry's in the breakup. My jewelry's at Barney's.
holy shit.
And it was like,
Oh
it
my
was just a perfect storm. It was leaf mania. It was a perfect storm. And I have told this story before, but Jennifer Aniston is just a special little fairy.
Mhm,
And her magic dust is all over my business.
mhm,
And it
mhm,
really started my business in the most incredible, beautiful way.
mhm,
Now, you cannot be a one-hit wonder. You
mhm,
cannot have a business on 20 years over a one leaf necklace from 20 years ago. So, you gotta, like, think and know how to build a business and strategize and do whatever
mhm,
you need to do,
mhm,
but I started alone, and then I hired one person,
mhm,
and then one more. Like,
mhm.
I was slow and steady. I'm a big believer of slow and steady wins the
Mm,
race.
mm. And how do you keep inspired after 20 years? It's your 20-year anniversary, right, this year?
It is.
I mean, of course, I wanna talk about the good luck necklace because I feel like that is, like well, it's my personal favorite, and I feel like it's
Never take it
do you
off.
have it on? I mean, I just feel like that I'm so big into jewelry for people, clients, or people that I tell everyone always ask me advice about things. I'm like, "You know what? Get a piece of jewelry." Like, that is a talisman. That is something that is close to your heart. You can feel it. It's just like it's your personal thing. So, before I say, like, how do you get inspired? I mean, like, when did the good luck necklace come along? Like, how far after the leaf did the good luck necklace come on?
Very early on. I did
Oh,
it, like,
okay.
a couple within the 2 or 3 years, I think.
Mhm. And how did you come up with that?
I just love good luck. I love being protected. I love all the good symbols in one. And I was like, "Let me figure this out." And it just became my number one piece overnight, and it still is.
It's such a classic. So are you into spirituality and things like that? Like all the 4 symbols, I forgot, what there are. I mean, there's like an elephant. Is there a Ganesh on there?
An ohm. There's
An
an ohm
elm.
on there, which I love, and there's a heart and a four-leaf clover, and there's the elephant and the evil eye,
Mhm,
the horseshoe, all the good things. I I I love just good energy. I love
mhm,
things that you feel like you can make a wish on, that can protect you,
mhm,
that just feel like, "I got it, I
mhm,
got this on me,
mm,
and I'm not taking it off."
mhm. So how do you keep inspired, yeah, after all, like, after these 20 years, you know what I mean? Obviously, you've branched out into, like, fragrance and things like that, or is it, like, I don't know, I feel like your stuff makes people so happy. Is that part of it?
There's days where I'm not inspired, for
Mhm,
sure, and then there's days where I'm just like, "I need this. I need this
mhm,
in my life." Like, I
mhm,
want this sparkle, I want this feeling, I want this
mhm,
necklace, and
mhm,
I design it. I try and
mhm,
design for me,
mhm,
and my customer
mhm,
dresses like me in a way, or
mhm,
wants to wear their jewelry like me, or
mhm,
and I get inspired by my customers. They're much more stylish
mhm,
than me, but
mhm. From what you said earlier about, like, this is, like, kinda going back, about having people that you can talk to and close friends. I know a lot of women, like, there's this whole thing, like, are your best friends girls, or are they your husband or their fiance? And, like, when I hang out with my girlfriends, I'm like, "We should do this more," like, time gets compacted, when you have kids. I know that you're good friends with the Foster sisters. Like, did you guys grow up together? I mean, I know Malibu. Like, I don't know if you're from Point Doom or whatever. I think they were. I'm not sure. But
no.
like, and how, like, I guess I'm kind of fascinated because I know you. I never met them, and I didn't really know who they were until, like, I guess kind of recently. Of course, I've seen, like, because I know you, I've, like, seen you on their podcast. But there's all these girls that are, like, really nice, really fun, really positive. Like, how big of a factor has that been in your life, and including, like, letting out your feelings and stuff like that? I mean,
Sarah and I have been best friends for well over 25 years.
okay, so kids. Did you guys go to the same high school or something?
Well, my
No.
sister and her were good friends in high school, so
Okay.
that's how I met her. Um, I don't know what I would do without Sarah and Aaron Foster in my life. I really don't. They're the best.
I think it's the point I'm trying to get to is, like, obviously your friends are, famous and you're famous, whatever, but it's like having a couple. And I think that why I asked that question too is because, like, Caitlin, for example, she's been with you since the begin. I don't know what
Yeah,
higher
it's
she was of
15
yours, but
years.
you seem like somebody who has a really, listen, friendships come and go. But, like, having a tiny little core of people, and I always tell people, it doesn't need to be, like, 100 million people as we get older. Sometimes your friends are, like, they're really good friends you can count on a small handful, and some, like, I have a friend who lives in LA. I have a friend who, I have friends all over the place. But tell me about that kind of friendship, that quality of that friendship, and what that means to you, and in terms of your somatic, obviously when things are stuck in your body and stuff like that, it's like somatic healing, and when
I'll
you
call
talk.
Sarah or Aaron, by the
Yeah,
way.
right.
Um,
Like, when you
Sarah
say that they're part of your wellness, I was gonna ask you, like, what's your wellness routine, or what do you do? I mean, I think you're pretty natural, like, you are a natural sort of, like, practitioner, and it seems to me that your friendships and how you act and your, like, sort of loyalty to.
I don't know what I would do without my girlfriends. I mean, I truly do not. I am
Mhm,
so lucky.
mhm,
I mean by 10 AM, Sarah and I had already spoken on the phone and broke it
mhm,
down, and I don't even know, and she
mhm,
was my last call last night. You know what I
mhm,
mean? And
mhm,
I really don't know what I would do without my girlfriends. I'm so lucky, and
mhm,
I trust them with everything in my life. I
yeah,
mean, truly, no
mhm,
judgment,
yep,
no, like, "Wait, what? That's ridiculous," or no jealousy. Like, we're so there
no,
for each other in those moments of like, "What do you need? How can I help?"
like sisters,
Truly.
like sister friends.
Yeah. I mean, the foster girls are my sisters for sure. And by the way, I'm so lucky I also have 2 sisters who are my best friends,
Mhm,
you know,
mhm,
but you gotta find your people that do not judge you,
mhm,
that want the best for you.
mhm.
And even if you're not in the same city, you gotta nurture those friendships, you
Yep.
gotta check in, "What's
Mhm,
up? How are
mhm,
you?"
mhm.
Whatever it is,
Yeah,
and I have a good group of girlfriends.
yeah,
Really lucky,
yeah.
really lucky.
That's really wonderful, and I think that has a lot. I mean, who you surround yourself and you as a person who they wanna surround themselves, if they're really good people, it's all like that, and, like, I get, like I said, the thing with Caitlin is, like, you're very family sorta oriented. I mean, or just having your peeps around you.
Yeah, she's been in my company for 15 years. We're like, an old married couple at this point,
I love
but
her.
she is incredible and knows everything and has been with me through it all
Mhm,
and, has been I just trust her with everything.
mhm, mhm. Can I get into, like, just a little bit of kinda fluffy stuff? Hot takes on your skincare. When you always have had really good skin and I feel like you don't look a day older. Is there something like people always want to know about beauty routines and things like that? And I usually ask somebody, like I was going to ask about your skin and your hair. You have like the most insane hair. I'm like,
Oh,
God
it's all
damn
slick.
it.
Today, I slicked my hair back and I have no makeup on. I am like, "Oh, natural today,"
Yeah, no, your
as
skin is
you can
insane.
tell.
So, like, what do you go to somebody? What are some of your things? Doesn't have to be a long time. Just like if you were to say your desert island beauty products, or do you get facials? Is it like Jumi Song? I mean, what is it? You have good genes. You could have good genes.
Listen, I always am of the mindset that less is more
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to skin and skincare routines and all that. I think the more we do, the more we have people, like, doing shit to our face, like, our skin won't be great.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think I do love a good facial, don't get me wrong.
Hmm.
When Joanna Check is in town, I love a good
Yeah.
Joanna's facial. I was just at Biologique. They gave me an amazing, like, I love,
Oh,
like,
the 7D, the whatever the toner.
P70 or P50
Yeah,
or
yeah, 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 yeah. P50.
anyway, I love a good facial. You Beauty by
Yeah,
Tina
Tina,
Craig.
love her.
I'm
Yeah,
obsessed with her line.
yeah, she has
I
good
think
stuff.
it's amazing. I love her. I use her moisturizer, like, 3 times a day. I think it's just incredible.
Yeah,
And
people swear by her. It is really good. And I think in the
yeah,
beginning,
Doctor
same thing, like, she might have got some flack, like, "Who are you doing a skincare line?" It's like, it's really good.
it's really good.
It's
Dr.
really good.
Diamond has amazing products that I love.
Doctor Who?
Diamond.
Oh, do yeah, yeah, yeah.
My sister, she has this thing called Sea in the Moon. It's a body scrub and a body oil.
I've
I'm
heard of that.
addicted to it, like, truly. I use it every day in the shower. I have the softest skin,
Yeah,
like, I
you're
pride
like
myself on it, but it's all
mhm,
because of the Sea in the Moon body scrub and body oil,
mhm,
like, it is
mhm.
my go-to. I don't know, those are a few things off
Okay.
the top of my head.
And then what about the hair?
I love Lola V, the Jen Aniston products. I
I know I've
really
been
love
wa
them.
yeah, I mean, is
They're
it I've heard a
great.
lot of good things about that.
They're so good. I use them.
Well, she's
I
super
love
eco, like, she's super into I think into wellness and things like that, like, she probably would have
totally.
the best
I
product.
love it, and, Mara Rozak,
Oh,
the rose
Mara! I know!
product,
I tried her stuff. It was amazing.
so good. They do a really,
The
really
hair
good, like,
oil.
hair oil, which
Love hers.
I have in
Yeah,
right now.
I know. I need to get some of that. She's really
Really
nice
good.
too. Yeah. Okay, well, Jen, thank you for being so, generous with your time. I know this is, like, a very different conversation than you normally
I
have, but
love it. I love
glad
seeing
I'm just
you.
glad I was able to, like, share you, the real you. I think people can that kinda that totally comes through, like, in your Instagram and presence and everything, but I think until you've, like, met you in person and spend time with you, like, people can, understand, but you also being so self-aware, and have practiced things and try to employ mindfulness, it's just, like, the perfect gift that I could ever imagine to share to our listeners and viewers. So thank you for taking the time, especially after waking up at 3:30 in the morning, to show up and share your sparkle.
Well, thank you for asking me to do it again, and I
Good.
love you, and I
I
love
love
seeing
you.
you, and I
You're
love this conversation.